Hi, everybody. This is Reza.
This is Sandy.
Welcome back to episode 57 of the Stone Cold Sober podcast.
It seemed like a lot of people enjoyed the last episode that we did.
I know I did. I enjoyed doing it.
It was great to just discuss that kind of stuff because I feel like it's sort of that shared journey that everyone's on, and we're all sort of we're like looking at each other. We're going in the right directions. Like, you're going this way, I'm going this way. You sure you're going this way? And it was just nice to sort of sit down and be like, all right, this is what I've got on my map. Am I doing this right? I mean, because there's no one out there that's going to tell you, right? Like, oh, you're doing this right, or you got to think about doing something else. Everyone's sort of just winging it at the end of the day.
Right. I thought it was really cool just to hear your thoughts on it too. Because I think we were similar in some aspects, but when we got really specific, there were areas where we did differ in our opinions, and I thought it was really cool just to kind of hear your perspective and then kind of have you change my mind about a couple of things.
Yeah. Well, I think it was just nice to sort of discuss everything and then see how it differed or what have you.
Yeah. So Sandy and I were just talking, and we were thinking to stop uploading to YouTube soon. It seems like a lot of our listeners have transitioned to Chat Engine and iTunes with that. We're going to continue uploading to YouTube until maybe episode 60, but we're going to include links to Chat Engine. And again, you can search for us, just Stone Cold Sober Podcast on iTunes, and you can subscribe to us there. Or if you have an Android device, you can subscribe to us on pretty much any podcast managing app. So again, we'll keep uploading for the next 3 or 4 episodes. But after that, we'll just keep it on Chat Engine. It makes it a little easier for us for the uploads. And for my computer, because I hold all those files and they're a lot of space.
Yeah. So it's nice that everyone's sort of enjoying the podcast in the format that it seems easier to digest and to enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely. Much, much easier, I think. Just being able to take it on the go, not have to download the whole video or, stream the whole video. Just download it to your phone in the morning, listen to it when you're walking around or on the subway, in the car, or whatever.
Yeah.
Just fun. And I've really enjoyed the process and the evolution of it, figuring out how to get to Chat Engine, and then you figuring out how to get us onto iTunes from that.
Yeah. That was funny because I got us onto iTunes, I think, during an episode while we were recording it.
I think you're right, yeah. Because we had talked about it when you were at work that week.
Yeah.
And then I think we were recording the episode and we'd mentioned that we wanted to get it onto iTunes. And then all of a sudden, midway through the episode, you sent me a message on Skype and you're like, hey, it's done. I'm like, really? That's it?
Yeah. I think I made it a bigger deal than it had to be initially. I feel like we could have been on iTunes a couple of episodes before we got on.
A long time before. Yeah, we probably waited a good 15 or 20 episodes, and the reason is because we wanted a backlog. We wanted to get our whole backlog onto iTunes, onto Chat Engine, because we did the first 20 episodes onto YouTube alone. And then we switched over to Chat Engine in conjunction with YouTube. But because we wanted to go ahead and upload everything, and all my original uploads are on my computer back here at home, we decided, hey, we'll just wait. And then after that, it was like, well, is it really that big of a deal?
Right.
And I guess we still intend on doing it. We could just go back and rip the audio back from YouTube or from my computer or whatever and get them onto Chat Engine. But for now, I figure most people aren't even going to listen to those. So.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I guess that's where we stand on that.
Yeah. So I've been really, really excited to hear about this. You did not tell me yesterday, but Sandy went out on a super expensive dinner. It's a 3.5-hour dinner. Who can eat dinner for 3.5 hours? I don't know, but I want you to tell me about it.
It was okay. Before we dive into what happened yesterday, we gotta go back.
Yeah, give me more. Yeah, give me everything, but you're just gonna keep me waiting. That's fine.
Yeah, we gotta go back.
You got to give the viewers the story, or the listeners the story, not viewers.
So Earl, my roommate.
Earl McEarl
was watching Chef's Table, this fantastic documentary series on Netflix. It was created by the same guy who did Jiro Dreams of Sushi. Now, for those of you who don't know, Jiro Dreams of Sushi is a documentary about this chef named Jiro, who has the who basically runs the best sushi restaurant in the world. What's funny about the restaurant is located is that it's at a subway station.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's literally sushi in the subway, but
Really?
it's ranked as the best sushi place in the world. He's meticulous in everything that he does, and the guy who created this series, there's this movie on Jiro, created this whole series, and I think he covered 6 restaurateurs in season 1, and one of those people that he covered was this guy named Dan Barber. Now, Dan Barber is this American who sort of pioneered the farm to table uh, revolution that the culinary world has been experiencing the past few years. But he was the guy, one of the vanguards of it from very early on. And I remember that he had a restaurant near NYU that's a Michelin star rated restaurant. And then as I'm watching this, I go, oh my God, he has his own family farm. He has a series of farms. He works with biologists and farmers to create sustainable sort of, growth for his vegetables and his livestock. And he actually breeds vegetables,
Yeah.
which is really cool. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, we have to go to this place because of all the restaurants that are in season 1. One of them's in Italy, kind of tough to get to. One of them's by a dude who travels around the world and cooks wherever he wants, so he's hard to pinpoint. Another dude is in Norway or Finland, and I think it's in Finland, above the Arctic Circle. You're flying to the capital. It's like a 5-hour drive, and he runs a bed and breakfast that seats 12, right?
Right.
And it looks amazing, but a little tough to get to. I guess the second closest one is in LA, which is really cool, and I want to try that if I'm ever in LA. But this one was outside New York, and so right after the episode finishes, I go, I have to do this. So I was out to dinner with a few friends, and I floated the idea, and they all really appreciate food. I don't want to say that they're foodies because that sort of has a snooty aspect to it. They just really like food in all aspects. They can enjoy all different kinds of food. They're not going to turn their nose up at a place because it doesn't. It's not hoity-toity. I think yeah. So I go onto their website and it's called Blue Hill at Stone Barns. His restaurant in New York is called Blue Hill, and they open up the reservation book a month in advance, and it books out immediately. So thankfully, one of my credit cards allows me to sort of access this concierge service. So in early November of last year, I call concierge and I go, listen, I want you to call these people, make a reservation for 6 people at 6:30, and they only have 3 times for dinner that are available: 6:30, 8:30, and I think 10:30.
Okay.
And I go, let's do 6:30. Call any available Saturday at 6:30 for 6 people. Hit me up. And then a couple weeks would go by. Every week they'd be like, oh, we tried. There's nothing available. We'll try again next week. I go, great. And then they were like, oh, we have one for December 23rd, I think, or a couple days before Christmas. And it's nah, I'm not going to do that because no one's going to be here, and everyone's going to be with their families. No one really wants to spend that much money on dinner right before Christmas. So I said, no, let's do early January. So they got back to me with this date, and they're like, hey, good news, January 16th, open, let's take it. I go, yeah, put my card down, because they gotta, do we have permission to release your card information to hold a reservation? Absolutely. So we've been talking about this forever. Every Monday morning, I send an email out to the group T- this many weeks, reservations at 6:30. It was sort of if I kept repeating it, details, it would sort of sink in, right? So it's hey guys, T- X- weeks to get there. It's 6:30 p.m. Dress is elegant, all that stuff. And yesterday was the big day. Now one of my friends couldn't make it, and that was pretty disappointing. Partly because I didn't know if I had to cover the cancellation fee on her part,
Right.
because it was $100 per person cancellation fee. So thankfully I called them and they're like, "Nah, it's okay. 65. We'll be happy to see you at 5."
Yeah,
I think
that's
that
good.
it was more of just if the entire party doesn't show up,
Yeah.
because the restaurant is kind of out of the way. So if you just like a table of 6 bounces, is like, oh, that's a ton of money that could have happened, that gone down.
Yeah, absolutely. I
Another
mean, they're
one of my
supposed to be packed all the time. They're always
exactly
supposed to have a seat or have a table taken up at basically
exactly
every hour of the day,
exactly
or at least fitting all their slots.
right. Another one of my close friends. He was working. He works in advertising, and he one of his clients was going through a product launch, and they're a major
Hmm.
pharmaceutical, and then it was just like he had weekend work. He didn't know if he could come at 3:45 or maybe even like 4:30. He texted me, goes, "All right, I'm definitely coming. I'll see you at the train station." And I'm dressed in a suit. I was super excited to dress up for this dinner. Suit and tie, all that jazz. We all met up at Grand Central, and we took the Metro North up, and it was like a 30-minute train ride out of the city, up to Tarrytown, and then from there we took a cab, and then we're definitely gonna go again because the grounds are open during the day for you to just like
Right.
walk around, and we think that
Okay.
like September, October would be a beautiful time to walk around and just enjoy the farm, because they don't have tours, but they sort of let you just take a look at the property. And when we got there, it was already dark, and I commented that as we were walking out of the cabin into the area, I was like, "Dude, this feels like Tom Cruise in Eyes Wide Shut when he gets out of the cab and he walks up into the property." I was like, "I'm not the only non-white guy here. I'm the first one to die." We get there, and immediately from the get-go, no detail is overlooked. They take your coats immediately, which I really liked. They sat you down. We ordered a drink. Everyone got a drink. Even I got a drink, which I nursed the entire time. I'm happy to say. I didn't finish, but I got about 90% of the way done, and I was really proud of myself.
Yeah.
At around 6:30, one of the hostesses comes over and goes, "Hey, can I escort you to your table?" So we all get up. They take our drinks on a tray, and then as we get there, there's 5 waiters standing around our table. We sit down. They push our seats in, and I go, "Oh, we're locked in." Reza, we were locked in at that moment. And there's a little booklet on top of our there's our plate, and then below our plate is our napkin, and above our plate is this little booklet, and it's called Field and Pasture. It's a 4-season journal. You open this little journal, and it's like they give you the map of the farm, and then they show you this little thing. It's like this insert that says grazing, pecking, and rooting, $218. If you were to do the wine pairing, it'd be $148 additional. We decided not to do that. And then like the first few pages are like January, February, March, like every month, and then on the opposite side they tell you like greenhouse has all these things you're going to use, field, all these things, pasture, forest, the Blue Hill Farm, and the cellar. So they basically give you a list of all the ingredients you're going to use, but they don't give you like the courses,
Right.
Now walking in, we found out there was going to be 30 courses.
Jesus.
And when we got out of the cab, the guy goes, "Hey, what name is the reservation under?" To give you my name, and he goes, "Will you require a taxi on the way out?" And we go, "Yes." So that's such an amazing thing,
Yeah.
because we're technically like in the suburbs, right? And we
Right.
don't have a car. So he goes, so the fact that he like was planning on getting us a cab was like, okay, immediately sets my mind at ease. We don't have to like wait for an Uber, because when we got off the train and we looked for an Uber, there was one Uber and he was 30 minutes away.
Yeah.
It was
Jeez.
like we can't do this,
How did you find the cab then? Were there just cabs around?
Yeah, there was like a ton of cabs,
Okay. Awesome.
which is super helpful. And so, all right, so we're sitting down, and one of the host for our table, like every table, I think had a different host, or maybe they all shared one host. But this guy named Peter. Peter grew up in Iowa on a farm, and Peter
Wow.
wanted to do nothing else but get out of Iowa and off of the farm. So he ended up going to Cornell for hospitality management school.
Wow.
But then he said, "You know what? I love farm life. I shouldn't run away from that. So he interned at this place, and now he works there full time. And he sort of walked us through, like, you know, what we're gonna do. And he goes, for the first few courses, there's not gonna be any silverware. So we encourage you to be fun and play and eat with your hands. We'll give you silverware later. Feel free to use it. If you don't want to, totally fine. So I like that they were playful about it. You know, it was a fancy restaurant, but it wasn't like too stuffy. You know, like they still had a personality. It was still fun. You didn't feel like you had to be on your best behavior.
Right.
And we were definitely the youngest table by far. That was definitely a virtual lock. We were looking around, and it was definitely it trended older. I want to say the average age was middle 30s.
Okay.
So, you know, we sat down and they just started giving us all these things, and it was amazing because we saw almost everything that Chef's Table sort of shoots in that really aggressive and, like, beautiful way, you know, where they do those macro shots and, like, the plates are all well lit, and then the copy comes in the bottom right screen. And it's just, we ate all that stuff, like you know how they serve those root vegetables on like the little sticks in the very beginning? Yeah, we got to eat that, and I was like, oh my god, we saw this on Netflix. This is crazy. And every course was served by a different chef in the back. Oh. And they would come in, they would place it down, and it was all very choreographed, right? So, when we sat down, he goes, are there any food, like, dietary restrictions? And one of the girls with us couldn't eat pork. He goes, no worries, we'll take care of you. So,
awesome. So, that's great.
Yeah, so the four of us were able to enjoy pork throughout the evening in all different kinds. And she would get, like, a vegetable substitute or a chicken substitute, something that was just as good.
Yeah.
And that she could still enjoy. And it was crazy fantastic. Because the chefs would come in and they would look at each other, and then they count like internal countdown, and it'd serve you at the same time. And then the person would give you a little background on what it was, and then you'd eat it. You'd be like, "Oh my god, this is amazing!" They take it all away, and then two other people come in. And the craziest parts would be when there were 5 waiters. They would all come up behind you, and you could tell they're like all standing behind you, and they look at each other. They go 3, 2, 1, and serve. So they'll all come in from your left. And then they would also then like come from your right, and then they go back to your left and take it away. It was just very well choreographed, and it felt amazing to be a part of that experience.
Yeah.
Some of the highlights were they gave us these tiny little mushroom burgers that literally, like, you know, like those like candy gummies, right? Well, they're bigger than that, but like imagine like a slider, but like a quarter of the size. Okay, but it was like a mushroom burger. And they served it to us, and we ate it, and Reza, you couldn't tell that it was mushroom. It tasted like 100% grade A beef. And we were all looking at each other like, oh my god, that's like the greatest thing we've ever eaten. Like, we kept talking about it, and at one point we were joking, and then we go, hey Peter, come over here. Just, so how about those burgers, though? He goes, you think we'll get to see those burgers again? He goes, I got you. He's like, because he could tell that we were being playful about it, and one of our friends, who kept like leaving the table to answer phone calls for work, we were like joking, like, if he leaves this table one more time, and Peter goes, do you want me to just like take away his chair, and when he comes back just say like, you've been we're asking you to leave the restaurant. So he could tell, like, you know, he was driving with us, and a lot of the waiters were like joking with us because they could tell that, you know, we were definitely not as serious as some of the other tables were. But he goes, I got you. So he came again with the burgers, and he goes, dude, he goes, can you believe that the burgers have no meat in them? And it was great. It was a lot of fun. And so that was definitely a highlight. Another highlight was they served us beef heart, pork heart, like, I think it was like cured pork heart or something. And you ate it, and it was like, it melted in your mouth. And it was such an amazing explosion of flavor. It was incredible. I just want to preface the fact that normally I don't like tasting courses because they're all tiny pieces of food. It's exactly like you see it on TV, and you're like, how am I going to get full on this? But don't fear, Reza, because by the time we get to the end of this, I was absolutely stuffed.
I can imagine.
So we're like eating our way through, and it's like a 3.5 hour thing. At around an hour in, or an hour and a half in, we've eaten a couple of things. We've eaten some chip stuff, which is really cool. We've eaten some pork rinds that they've done. We've eaten like some tartare that they've done, and then they go, all right, at this point, we want to give you a little science lesson. So Peter walks over with us this little table that he wheels over. He goes, "This is your standard butternut squash," and you sort of know what a butternut squash looks like. He goes,
Right.
The thing about butternut squash is it's really hard to use in a kitchen because it's unwieldy. They're huge. There's like seeds. It's like really hard to cook when you need like really fast service. So what Dan Barber, the head chef, did was he went to this guy, this breeder. He goes, "I want you to extract all the water out of this, make it super sweet, and something easy for me to use." And then he takes this other squash, and it's like a fifth of the size. He goes, "This is a honey nut squash." And then at that point, all the waiters, they come around and they serve us like this drink. And he goes, "Tears of a squash," or "squash tears." And Reza, it was so sweet. He goes, "This is just the juice that they squeeze out of this thing." It was so good. And then with that, they served us some other squash tart, and it was amazing. It was so much fun. One of the things they served us was these tiny breadsticks. We called it needle in a haystack, and literally there was a stack of hay in the middle, and you had to find it with your hands.
Wow.
So it was like really playful, like you really like getting a feel for things.
Yeah.
Another thing that they served, like that tart thing I was talking about, they served it underneath a bed of like almost like Christmas tree pines. So you basically had to take away all that stuff and then find your food and eat it. It was phenomenal. It was like incredible. Halfway through the meal, he goes, "All right, we're going on a field trip." I'm like, "Great." He goes, "All right, just leave the table." We walk into the back. We walk into their bakery. And they realize that, starting this year, they started growing their own wheat. And they mill their own wheat. So this woman in the back, she walked us through the two types of bread that they serve and how, whole grain is literally, there's three parts of the grain. All I remember was that one of the parts of the grain was the endosperm. And I forget the other two parts, but she said that the bread that you get at the supermarket is only the endosperm, and that's why it can stay on a shelf for 3 months because there's nothing about that thing that can go rancid. It's just like the husk or whatever. But what we use is all three parts of the grain, so the shelf life is like 3 days. So what they do is they mill the wheat every day to be used tomorrow, and the bread they make 90 loaves of bread a day, and it's all eaten. So there's absolutely no waste. And it was like the bread was super dense and it was chock full of flavor. And this other bread that they made had like hints of cinnamon and raisin, but there was no cinnamon or raisin used. Like there's none of those ingredients in there.
Interesting.
And it was amazing just like talk to them about that. And she was so passionate about the bread. And she goes, bread inherently is not unhealthy. In fact, it's very healthy because there's a ton of protein in bread. It's just that the bread that we're accustomed to is so dead and it's all starch. I think she said the endosperm part is just all starch. So that's why people think it's so bad for you. When in fact, they've taken away all the good proteins. It's like, oh, I get it now. Like real bread, true bread that you would get on a farm and you would sort of mill the wheat and the flour. Like that's the whole thing. All that stuff's good for you.
Mm-hmm.
So then we go back to our seat and, we're eating all this amazing food, and I wish I could tell you everything that we ate. I really do. It was just
It's a lot of stuff to remember.
a lot of stuff to remember. It was nice that it was a dead cell service zone, so we were all like fully engrossed in each other. No one really had their phone except for my friend who needed it for work, and it was just like the best conversation we were having. We kept toasting at things, and then I want to call out the desserts because the desserts were phenomenal. The first thing they served us was squash ice cream, and you could not tell that ice cream was made from a vegetable. It was so sweet, and they gave us this nice little drizzle of something, and I'm telling you, Rez, it was out of control. Oh no, wait. No. I gotta go back because at one point they changed out our candles, right? Like we had like these 2 candles. It was just for decorative purposes. At one
Yeah.
point in the middle, they just swapped out the candles for like these glass things with like yellowy wax. And I'm like, oh, that's weird. We don't know why they did that, but we definitely noticed that they did that. And so they came back and they're like, all right, here is I think it was a salad that they did. And at one point it goes, and now what we're going to use is the beef fat from the candle to create a vinaigrette. So they picked up the candle and they poured the candle while the flame was still on into like a vinaigrette. And I literally yelled out, "You guys are out of control!" and then both of the guys laughed. I go, "You guys can't do this. This is crazy. You guys are mad scientists." And they laughed and then they talked us through. Like one of the girls got regular butter because she couldn't eat like the lard, and we got like pork fat, and they made the vinaigrette. And it was just crazy because they poured it out of a candle, Reza. I was like, "What are you guys?" I was literally yelled at, "You guys are out of control. You guys are out of control," and everyone was laughing. It was great. But all right, so we go back to the desserts, and so the first thing that they gave us was the squash ice cream, absolutely out of control. And then like we all ordered coffees. Some girl ordered some tea. Some dessert wine was ordered, and then they served up these egg tarts, like these free-form egg tarts that look like ugly muffins in a sense. Like the base was all good, but the top part was sort of like concave. Concave is where it goes in, right? Convex is where it comes out.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's concave, and it was like eggy in the middle, and they served with this like, almost like this pound cake. And we waited for the coffee. I think the coffee beans are coming from a special farm, and we ate it and drank it, and it was freaking amazing. And the last thing they served us was this thing called a sweet beet, and it was this beet, but it looked like a jelly donut, and it was like on a bed of like cookie crumble or like Oreo crumble with like some sort of mousse. Reza, you cut into this thing, and I was like, wait, this is a fucking donut. And then we realized when we came back, they're like, no, it's a beet. We're like, no, it's a donut. You go, wait, we're like, it's a beet? He goes, no, it's a donut. I thought it was a donut. He goes, no, it's a beet. And then it turns out that the beet is in the flour of the donut. And so because it tasted a little like not chewy, but it was definitely like, you know, like when you bite into a donut, it's so airy, right? Like this one had a little bit more body to it. But then so they told us that the beet was part of the flour, and then the jelly was like part beet, part sweet something. And it is out of control. One of my friends posted on Instagram. I'll have to show you later, but it was like the desserts were out of this world. So we're sitting there, and then he comes over again. He goes, how did you enjoy the meal? We're having a great conversation with Peter, the host. We are talking about his life and how he got to this place and what time of year he likes going. We've already decided as a group of 5 that we're definitely coming back. So for me, in any case, there's 3 restaurants now that are like musts. The Smith, because that's an everyday thing, and we don't have to go over that again.
Should have known, and for some reason
let's start out.
I should have known, but for some reason that did not come to my mind. I don't know why.
Reza, Smith plays the 1, right? Because the Smith touches the ball on every possession.
Yeah.
At the 2 point is this place called Colicchio and Sons that I brought up the last time our friend Jin showed up to, and that is a phenomenal restaurant and a place that you'd like to get dressed up at. And my friend Jenny and I, when we went, we realized that if we're ever going to celebrate something super important that is like not Smith worthy, we're definitely going to that place. Phenomenal. Also, like phenomenal service at Colicchio and Sons. Great food. All of their food is appetizer portions, but not like tasting course portions. So definitely a lot more substantial than that. And we each ordered like 3 courses and a dessert, and you were stuffed. It was incredible. So next time you're in the city, if you two want to try it out, I think it's something that we could try.
Yeah. And
then last but not least, Blue Hill at Stone Barns is like, when we're gonna ball out, when there is no tomorrow, when rent, who gives a shit about the rent because the rent's too damn high anyways. We're gonna go to this place. But we're thinking about going again in October. Um, I think it was either late September or early October, just so that we could take advantage of some sun,
Right.
walk around the grounds a little bit, like get there early, stuff like that. So so they hand me the bill. I take a look at the bill. I have the bill in front of me. It's a nice little printout. They say they gave us, our table number was 53. His name is Peter. There's 5 guests. We got the bill at 10:06, and I'm looking at the bill. Oh my god!
Oh Jesus!
Oh gee! I'm doing the kind of heart. You're looking at it closer in the sunlight.
Yeah.
I mean, we got a ton of drinks. Each drink was around $16.
Oh wow.
Coffees were $6. One of the teas that we got was $14. Cappuccinos were $6, and then some dessert ones were $16. The food portion, Reza, was $1,090.
Oh god.
Subtotal came out to about $1,284.
Oh Jesus.
But there's tax, Reza. $94 in tax.
Would you just buy like a new TV?
Yeah, right. And so the total came out to $1,378. We gave him a $200 tip.
Wow.
Which we felt like was good. I think wait, quickly do the math on that. The total
20% would be $260. $1,300.
Oh shit.
That's with tax.
So
if you take out the tax, it'd be like $240.
So we under tipped. That's
yeah.
I got to make it up to him then.
Next time.
Next time I got to give him like 3 or something. That makes sense. Fuck. And now I feel kind of bad. $260. That makes sense. Yeah, on $1,378.
Yeah. Even closer to $280. Actually, it's almost $1,400.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a 20% across the board kind of guy.
Yeah, usually that's how I usually do too.
Yeah, I just last night
depends.
I just looked at it. I go, what are we even tipping on this? And then my friend goes, just give him 200. I go, all right, fine, let's just do it. I didn't even bat an eye. I didn't want to like bring out my phone and like do the math. I should have been better at that.
That's kind of interesting because on a bill that high, I wonder like is like 20% their standard? Do they do 18? I don't know. I guess I wonder what they expect. When I worked at a restaurant, when the dinners that people ate were like $40, 20% was awesome.
Because that's $8 right there.
Yeah, that's like $8. I can't imagine making a $200 tip.
Right, but you're also waiting on a
like
table for 3.5 hours.
Yeah, a lot of work involved.
It's high touch.
Involved.
Oh my god, he kept coming over. He walked us around. I feel kind of bad now. But I did. So along with this nice little card, they sent us like this little postcard, and it was like, if you have any feedback for us, please let us know. So I wrote my name, I wrote my address, my email, and I wrote an amazing review. I go, incredibly sublime, one of the best meals we've ever experienced. Everything about tonight was fantastic for the 5 of us. Peter was a delight. I actually said Peter was an absolute delight. Can't wait to see him again. And then we raced. So we got. And then we wanted to take pictures. We wanted to take pictures at this place, and so one of the other hosts was like, we'll take your picture, whatever. And then he goes, no, follow me. He took us outside, and he took a picture outside of one of their Christmas trees. Because he goes, it's like the last night we're going to have the Christmas tree up. You guys have to get a picture in front of the Christmas tree.
Okay.
So we did that, and we are in the cab, and we're looking at train schedules. And we're like, oh my god, the next train is at 11:13. We look at the clock, it's 11:04. And we're like, oh my god, wait, when's the next train after 11:13? He goes, 12:13. We're like, oh my god. So the cab driver is like, oh no, you'll definitely make it there on time. So when we get out of the cab, we'll all bolt out. Well, I mean, we pay the woman, but like all the doors weren't even closed, so I closed the doors for her. We had the girls go up to the other side of the platform because they were wearing heels. It was going to take them a minute. We got the train tickets. We took the steps 2 at a time. and we got onto the
Which
train.
you never do, by the way.
No. I mean, have we talked about why?
Because you're afraid of stairs.
I'm afraid of walking upstairs. I don't have a fear of walking upstairs. I walk upstairs in a very weird way, where normally people when they walk up these stairs,
Right.
like the front half of their foot is on the stair, but the back half of their foot is sort of off the stair.
Right.
For me, I always kick the vertical part of the next stair, and it like scuffs up the front of my shoe, and I don't know why, because I used to be able to just walk like a normal person. And I think I called that out to you, and you and Elena saw it, and like,
Yeah.
oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
That's super weird. But I was bolting up those stairs, and luckily, I was out of my body, so I didn't scuff the front of my part of my shoe, and I was okay with the back half of my foot like not being on anything.
Mm-hmm.
But we got onto the train just in time, and we just kept talking about how amazing the food was, and all that jazz, and the train back took like 45 minutes. Like I didn't get back into Grand Central until like midnight, and that's when I texted you. I was like, all right, I'm waiting for the subway now, and then I got back home at like 12:30, and then we started playing Duty at like 12:45.
Yeah, good session.
Great session. One of the goats. But yeah, I left my apartment at 4:30, maybe even earlier. And I didn't get back till 12:30. So that was an 8-hour extravaganza.
Wow. Yeah.
And it was just phenomenal. Food was great. Company even better. And we're definitely looking to do another one of these jaunts again. We were talking about this place called Sushi Nakazawa. Currently one of the best sushi places in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
The guy who is the head chef at Sushi Nakazawa actually came from Jiro's place. He is the intern who was working on that egg tart in the back, who like had a nervous breakdown in that documentary because he just couldn't get it right. Well, he ended up getting it right. He got it right so much so that now he's running one of the top sushi places in New York.
Nice.
So we're thinking about doing that. That would be an amazing experience. So that was, in a nutshell, my experience last night. I couldn't sort of oversell that place, if you ask me. Is it expensive? Yeah. It absolutely is expensive. I'll be the first to tell you. Is it a bitch to get to? Yes. It's not easy. Although, if you're in New York City, it's super easy because all you got to do is get to Grand Central, take the Metro North, and it's the first stop. Well, it's like the third stop, Tarrytown, outside of Harlem, because the first two stops are technically in Harlem.
Okay.
But it's like a 30-minute train ride. Once you're at the train station, you get off. There's a huge cab stand. I thought that you had to call a cab; it'd be a big deal. There's a cab stand, a very big cab stand in Tarrytown, and then it's a 10-minute drive to the restaurant, and there you're taken care of.
Yeah.
And so it's a bit out of the way in the sense that fine, it's not in Manhattan, but it's an incredible dining experience. They're not snooty, they're not stuffy like a lot of these like really intense restaurants are, where it feels like not only do you have to be quiet the entire time and you be on your best behavior, but you got to eat the food the way they imagine you eating their food.
Mm-hmm.
There's like no freedom to enjoy. So if I had to rate it 10 dinner plates, I would definitely give it 12 forks, if that makes any sense. On a scale of 10 appetizers, this is definitely 13 entrees and a dessert, for sure.
Oh God.
My fake review system, I love it.
This is out of control.
Yeah,
this is all out of control.
Can you just tell me on a scale of 1 to 10 if you like it? Well, I'm just gonna tell you right now, it's like 14 bamboos. It's unreal.
Oh God.
Yeah. So I woke up this morning to the thread, and people are like, what were people are saying? I don't know what I'm going to eat for breakfast because I don't want the taste in my mouth to leave. And then somebody was like, I can't believe I'm about to poop all this stuff out. And someone was like, how dare you let that leave your body? It was a lot of fun. So that was my night, really. I've been looking forward to it for a minute now.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
Well, that's good, man.
Yeah.
You want to know what I did last night?
What did you do last night? Tell me.
I watched Interstellar finally. I'm a year late, but I finally watched Interstellar and it was great.
It's funny because Earl just watched Interstellar and he thought the same thing.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So you told me to watch it a year ago, and I wanted to, but I didn't really have anybody to go see it with. My brother ended up catching it, and I can't remember what I was doing last year. Like I remember him inviting me to go along, and I was doing something I couldn't go. Um, and what's funny is like you told me it was a fantastic movie, and then he told me it was good, but it wasn't great. And I'd heard like mixed things from different people. I heard some people liked it, some people didn't like it. I say like it, like I heard like they really liked it. Um, so I wasn't sure what I was gonna think, and I've been putting it off for a long time. I thought about watching it over the summer, but I remember you told me, well, you saw it in IMAX. You're like, it's got to be seen in IMAX. I'm like, well, I can't see it in IMAX now, but the closest I could do was see it on a bigger TV, and I didn't have anything like that in Seattle, so I waited. And then, like 2 weeks ago, I saw that it was on Amazon Prime. Amazon Instant Prime because I have Amazon Prime, so it was free for me. So yesterday I had nothing to do in the afternoon, so I threw it on. I ended up taking a break like in the middle of the movie, like I think right after or right before they landed on the first planet, and then I came back, finished it up. It was fantastic, loved it. Like
Yeah.
I liked it a lot.
What did you?
Uh,
What were some parts of the movie that you really liked?
well, I really liked Matt Damon's character, but I hated his character at the same time, which means he did a good job with it at least. Um, I at first I was like, wait, like is the whole ghost in the room? I was like, this is silly. Like they're not going to explain this to us. But all of a sudden they came back to it, and they came back to it because it's a really long movie. It's a 3 hour movie, or just shy of 3 hours,
Right.
and you get the explanation like 2.5 hours in,
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh wow, it's clever, it's smart. I really liked that. Like I don't, it's not like really a twist, but the revelation. I don't want to ruin it for anybody that hasn't seen the movie yet. It's not, I wouldn't feel bad giving spoilers if it was like a 20-year-old movie, but um,
You can
you know
totally spoil this movie, dude. Are you
the
serious?
entire revelation at the very end, I thought was really great.
You're not gonna spoil the movie.
I'm not going to spoil the movie now.
This movie's been
No,
out for a minute now.
it's all right. All right, fine. All right, spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't seen Interstellar. Um,
If you
I
haven't
really,
seen Interstellar,
I
I
haven't
know
seen
it's a I
Interstellar.
know it's a long movie, but it is kind of worth your time.
Yeah.
It's a great movie. There's a ton of great actors in it.
Hmm.
There's a nice surprise actor in the movie as well, and I think it deals with a lot of heavy elements.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the
Not so
thing.
much like world-ending stuff, which is like the basis of the movie, but like human to human relationships
Yeah.
at the end of it.
I'll tell you this. Anne Hathaway pissed me off, man.
You know what?
She
I
was
get
like,
it.
I
I
gotta
get
get the
it.
data. I gotta get the
But she
data.
had. I mean, that's the whole point of the mission.
Look, Sandy, look, yes, that may be the whole point of the mission, but you retrieving that data is worthless if you are dead. Like if your whole team dies. So you got to take some sense of you have to be responsible in taking care of your life and your team's life. So you can't say, "Oh, I'm going to go get the data. Oh, I screwed up, so just leave me behind." Like, yeah, you got to leave you behind if you screw up, but we had a chance of saving you and you just kept going for it. And then
Let's agree to
her
disagree on this point.
I can't remember his name. What was his name? Dunbar? Was that the other astronaut that was with them? He took a hard L.
Yeah,
He should have gotten the ship earlier. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah.
I'm like,
That dude should have hustled a little bit more.
because you had Tars as the MVP over there, just running out and picking. Love Tars, my favorite character in the movie.
Your
Tars
favorite character in
running.
the movie was a robot.
Yes, absolutely. Great AI. Um, but yeah, I like that. I liked when Matthew McConaughey realized it wasn't a greater being that was helping the humans out. It was the humans from the future helping the humans out.
Yeah,
I thought it was really clever. I thought it was really cool.
I think it was as logical as a fourth dimension thing can be.
Yeah. The only thing is, I still don't know. So like, how if the humans needed Matthew McConaughey to interact with his daughter to teach her the to help her fit the scientific equation, how is it possible that they figured it out the first time?
They're smart as shit, dude. Come on now.
Yeah, but if they were going through the same, like, assuming they're on the same timeline, I guess I wonder I don't know, what did the humans of the future need the humans of the past for? This is when like time travel becomes really interesting or like really difficult for me, because if they figured out how to not necessarily time travel, but to pass messages across the timeline, why does it matter what happens in each of these timelines?
Well, isn't the whole thing like if there are people from the future, then they're based on people from the past because you can't just have them uh like they didn't just appear, right?
I guess so. So this is like the almost the single timeline theory that like Back to the Future kind of goes with, unlike
Exactly.
Primer, where there's like a million different universes and each timeline is distinct in its own.
Right. And so that's why they have to go back and rely on old people, like people from the past.
Gotcha.
That's what I think.
Well, I still really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really good movie. It's a really fun movie.
Movie was incredible in IMAX for all the reasons that you saw that movie. Like
Yeah.
all those like huge set pieces,
Mhm.
amazing, and
Yeah.
more importantly, the audio in that movie.
Got it.
Um,
Yeah.
what was crazy was that the soundtrack. I think Hans Zimmer did
Hans
it.
Zimmer. Yeah, he did.
What was interesting was he used the organ as a centerpiece to that soundtrack. Why did he use the organ? Because the organ, for the longest time in human history, was considered one of the most technologically advanced inventions for hundreds of years.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so because of that, it sort of made sense to mirror, the film of how technologically advanced their sort of ship is
Hmm.
with this music. And this soundtrack is incredible. And there's a lot of sort of I think his name is what's his name, Peter Glass or something. I gotta look this up for you real quick. But the soundtrack is based off of his style.
I see.
It's like a lot of like cascading, arpeggios and whatnot.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can figure out Glass. Peter Glass? It's definitely not Peter Glass. Find that out right now. I shouldn't be doing this because I'm just scrolling through my.
Well, I'll say that I thought it was kind of crazy um,
Philip
that
Glass. Philip Glass.
Philip Glass. There you go.
What was crazy?
So they went to that first planet, right? So essentially, what happens is they're traveling because the Earth is no longer habitable, or it's doomed. The Earth is doomed, and if humans do not leave the Earth, all of humanity will die in X number of years that they don't actually know. And so they send a crew out to find a habitable planet, and it turns out that humans from the future, that what they know is just somebody put a wormhole near Saturn, which will transfer,
Dicks.
which
Oh, sorry.
leads to another galaxy. And so they in the past they've sent a bunch of astronauts through to find out if any of these planets are habitable, but they don't. They have basically.
Why did they
pings.
come back?
They couldn't come back because
Dicks.
they were one-way missions.
You're just rude.
Yeah.
You can't just gather data and come back. You gotta. That's like going to an event and not finding a ride back.
They basically should have sent Matthew McConaughey's ship first, right?
Yeah,
What you're saying.
but
They should
listen,
have get.
listen. I know you want to go to the mall, right? But you got to find a way. You got to find your own ride home if you want to go to the mall. And they found a
Right.
ride there, but you're not gonna call me and be like, "Hey, listen, I need a ride home." It's like, nah, what I say?
I
Not the
feel like
same
they
thing?
could have gathered a lot of the data that they needed from just an orbit of the planets. So they could have found out that the first planet was nothing but water with crazy waves. If they were in orbit, which I believe they were in orbit over a lot of these planets with different pods, right? If I'm not mistaken, I think they had mentioned that. So they should have had lots of data on some of these planets already. So like the first world, spoiler, is that it wasn't habitable. It was completely sterile, and there were these massive tidal waves that were basically just coming and crashing down on the planet. Also, this planet is in orbit over it's in orbit of a black hole, and it's moving so fast that every hour that you spend on that planet is 7 Earth years. So basically, Matthew McConaughey is the only person on the crew who actually has kids. He has like a family attachments back home. So he just wants to get back home. His daughter's mad that he's left, and he wants to get back home to his daughter. And so he's like, all right, well, we have to get down to this planet, and we can only be there for like 5 minutes. We got to get back because every minute or every hour, if we spend more than an hour down here, that's 7 years. Well, of course, things go wrong when Anne Hathaway screws up, and they end up spending 21 years down there. They spend about 3 hours down there. So I really like that part, like, because I'm expecting things to go right. I don't know why I'm expecting things to go right, but I was. And when they come back and they find Rom, who's aged 20 some years, I'm like, oh snap.
Dude, how tragic was that scene?
Yeah, man.
Where he comes out in the fucking shawl, and he goes,
Right.
I waited for y'all.
But
And,
I thought you guys were dead.
yeah.
Be real.
And he, like, lived a fucking life.
Yeah, exactly. By himself.
By himself.
He was alone for 20 some years.
20 some years. Just doing math.
That's
no
Can you
Netflix.
Imagine that? I guess I never really thought about it. Can you imagine that? Just being stuck on a planet. Like, would you have left?
I would have killed myself. That's it. Where am I gonna go? Well, where am I gonna go? I can't fly the thing.
I guess that's true. He certainly couldn't have. He could not pilot the thing. And then Matt Damon making the biggest new move of them all, which surprised me. As a scientist, he's supposed to be a very smart man. Made the biggest new move of them all. Opened the hatch before it was securely latched.
I mean, yeah. I mean, he was desperate though.
Yeah, he was. He was very desperate.
Definitely.
I saw so did you have any like out there theories of the movie? Because when I googled the movie after, apparently there are a lot of fan theories as to what really happened. I'm like, wait, what really happened? I thought everything was plain and simple. I saw the movie, it seemed pretty clear. In Inception, in what's his name, the director? Well, I'm blanking.
Nolan.
Yeah, Christopher Nolan's last movie, Inception, there was the question as to whether or not Cobb was dreaming or not, because he spinned his top. Because normally when he gets back home in his dreams, he doesn't get to see his children's faces. And he spins his totem to top to see if it falls down, and he decides to just leave it alone and go see his children. And so the movie ends with the top still spinning, but we don't know whether or not it falls. In this movie, everything seemed pretty simple and clear, Matthew McConaughey somehow lives, gets to see his daughter, even though she's aged and lived her entire life. And then he decides, all right, well, it's time to go see if we can colonize that planet. And so that was it, right? He leaves. And then apparently there are fan theories that he's actually died. That Matthew McConaughey didn't live when he ejected in the black hole. He died, and everything that he saw was a sort of a dream, because if you think back to what Matt Damon was saying, the last thing you see before you die is your kids' faces, and you see their pictures, and I guess kind of, imagine them. So supposedly everything that he saw after that point was just a dream. But to me, everything made sense. Like, they explained they explained the ghost from the beginning of the movie. Otherwise, you don't have that explanation as to what really happened. So I thought everything was pretty simple. What do you think?
I can understand that viewpoint. I think it makes sense. I don't like when he is in the Tesseract. It was an interesting way to show, 5 dimensions in a sense.
Yeah.
It was also terrifying to think that if you got lost in something like that, like all the infinite number of permutations that that's how I saw it when I was a kid. Just like all the different dimensions, infinite dimensions spreading out from a focal point of where I am right now in every direction, so that every tiny thing, every tiny change is something that reverberates infinitely.
Right.
And if you get stuck in like a grid, like a 3D grid, and that's how they represent each dimension, like you get lost very quickly. And the idea of you finding 0, 0 again is just out of the question. I wonder. In my mind, I like to think that he didn't die. If we do go to uh, Inception, I want to say that it doesn't matter if the totem falls or not,
Right.
because at that point he's just happy
Yeah.
because he finally got, quote unquote, got over the death of his wife, and he was able to come to grips with that.
Hmm.
Um, I like the fact that it's an open-ended ending because he very well could have gotten over it, but he went too deep, and now he's just stuck
Yeah.
forever.
Right.
But do we ever see his dad, Michael Caine,
Yeah, I think you do. I think you
when
do when he
he's
comes
under?
back.
No,
Oh, when he's under.
definitely when he's above because he picks him up at the
I got you.
airport.
When he's under, I don't think so.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't know, but there are a ton of uh, analyses that cover what they think might have happened.
Hmm.
So we'll let those go. But I loved it. Overall I loved Interstellar.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was a really good movie. Really well done. Um, so far, I don't think I've ever been disappointed with the Christopher Nolan movie. So, especially like these, these original products, like these or original projects that he works on. So, I like the Batman movies. I like the Dark Knight movies overall, but I've really liked Inception and Interstellar, just like kind of on another level.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. His next project will be,
Does he have a next project?
I'm not sure, called Dunkirk. The film tells the story of the Dunkirk evacuation, which took place at the beginning of World War II.
Yeah,
Slated for 2017.
that could be an amazing movie. Dunkirk's one of the largest evacuations in human history.
Really?
100,000 British soldiers and like French soldiers left France to go to England.
Wow.
If they didn't, and literally every type of boat was used: military boats, private boats, shipping boats, sailboats, life rafts. It was literally a mass exodus because the Hitler war machine was marching and just steamrolling through France so quickly that if
Yeah.
those people didn't get saved, very easily, the Allies could have lost the war because just all your fighting men are captured.
Right.
Think about that. Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a story that most people don't know about, but
Yeah, I don't know anything about it. I know
Yeah.
that so Sandy, you are a big World War II buff, so you know just about
Huge.
everything there is to know about World War II.
well, no, I like learning about it, and
Yeah, okay,
I
fine,
definitely
fair
don't know everything there is to know.
Gotcha.
I appreciate the praise, but definitely not.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. Tom Hardy's going to be in it.
Amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, he is British, so that helps.
Yeah, it does. And I know you are a Tom Hardy fan.
I'm a
I like
huge-
Tom Hardy a lot.
I want to see The Revenant because he's in it, and my friends
Same.
last night said that he does an amazing job.
Yeah, I really want to see that movie.
Yeah.
I actually considered seeing it the other day. I was driving home, I think on Friday, and I was like, it could be just, just disappear, just go to the movie for 2.5 hours. I think I was supposed to come home and play duty. I was like, I could just, or I guess it was Thursday, not Friday. Just go to the movies and just check out for a bit.
Yeah. So I definitely want to see that movie. So
Gotcha. And Hateful Eight. I got to see that one too.
yeah, that's true. I think that's
Alright,
it for
well,
me.
Yeah, that's all. That's all I got.
Awesome.
All right. Well, I'm Reza.
I'm Sandy. Thanks so much for listening. We'll see you guys next week.